Let's Read video today. But first of all, I just want to quickly say thank you so much for your feedback on my last one, and I guess on the Swan Lake one as well. It just means a lot. I'm very glad that you will enjoy them and that you wanted me to keep doing more of these, and so I decided I would do another one today. Today I'm going to be reading Barbie as Rapunzel, but I'm going to be reading it from the Barbie story Treasury. This is such a lovely book. I bought it recently and it came for me today, and it's the collection of the first 4 movie books. So The Nutcracker, Rapunzel, Swan Lake and Princess and the Pauper. And obviously I already have the individual copies of Princess and the Pauper and Swan Lake, but I haven't been able to find one of the Nutcracker or Rapunzel. Well, I have been able to find some, but they have been overseas and they just would take so long to get here, and I really wanted to get them soon. So I probably will buy the individual copies at some point, but then I saw this, or actually I've been seeing it for quite some time, and I decided that I would finally buy it because it was very cheap and I would get both the Nutcracker and Rapunzel in this one. And even though I already have the other 2 stories, I think that it's still such a lovely little collection to have, and it's just so beautiful. I think, you know, when I saw it, I just thought this is a must-have for any Barbie movie fan, especially if you love the classic movies. And it's just gorgeous. It's so beautiful. I just love everything about it, the look and the feel of it. I love how it's called Barbie Story Treasury because the Barbie stories are truly treasures. But yeah, so I love it so much. Yeah, I thought I would read Rapunzel out of this to you all today, but first of all I might show you the book a little bit. So here is closer up. This is Barbie Story Treasury, and even just the font and everything is so beautiful. We have butterflies and flowers everywhere. I love the pattern, it's so lovely. So soft and pretty, which is everything that I love. And of course it pictures Rapunzel in the front, which I really love, and I think that makes it very appropriate for this video. And here's the back. More of the same lovely pattern, and it says Barbie stars as a princess in 4 magical stories, and it says The Nutcracker, Princess and the Pauper, Rapunzel and Swan Lake. What annoys me about that is it is out of order. Princess and the Pauper needs to be down here, and they actually do have it out of order in the book as well. So we have The Nutcracker first, and then Princess and the Pauper, then Rapunzel, then Swan Lake. So I don't like that how they put that out of order, but it's okay. So yeah, and on the inside we have more of this pattern. How pretty is this? The magical sparkles. Oh. And put my name here. You bet I'll be putting my name there. And oh, how gorgeous, right? The magical sparkles make a heart. Go all the way over here. This book is definitely very magical, and just like I said, so soft and pretty, it's like everything. And open it up, has Swan Lake here with some information, and title again with a picture of the Nutcracker. We have a table of contents, so pretty, all the fairies and the sparkles and the flowers and the vines. This is everything, this is my whole aesthetic. It's so pretty, and it's the aesthetic of the classic Barbie movies, right? There's just something about it, it's so beautiful. Yes, then we have the start of the first story, The Nutcracker. I could also read this another day, but I'm thinking I want to save it for Christmas because The Nutcracker, Christmas, I don't know. The Nutcracker just belongs at Christmas time, so I think I'm going to save that Let's Read for then. And yeah, and then after the Nutcracker finishes, it goes straight onto Princess and the Pauper, and then we have Rapunzel, and after Rapunzel, Swan Lake. But yeah, the Swan Lake book and the Princess and the Pauper book are the exact same as the ones I have, so I just have the individual copies. So yeah, it's the same books that you would find individually, but yeah, just put into this collection of 4 for any big Barbie movie fan who loves to collect anything to do with these movies. And I am certainly one of them. Yes, let's all get comfy again and get into the story of Rapunzel. Once there was a girl named Rapunzel who had beautiful long hair and loved to paint. She was a servant of a jealous, scheming witch named Gothel, who made her work hard every day. "I took you in when nobody else wanted you or loved you," Gothel always reminded her. The witch kept Rapunzel hidden away in a grand manor, guarded by an enormous dragon named Hugo. Rapunzel's best friends, Penelope, Hugo's daughter, and Hobie, a gruff but good-hearted rabbit, were always by her side and tried to help her. But no matter how hard Rapunzel worked, Gothel was never pleased. One day, Rapunzel and her friends discovered a secret stairwell beneath the kitchen floor. Curious, they crept down the stairs and found an old wooden chest. Inside the chest was a beautiful silver hairbrush with a poem engraved on the handle. "Constant as the stars above, always know that you are loved. To our daughter Rapunzel on her first birthday, with love forever, mother and father." Rapunzel nearly wept. "Gothel said my parents never loved me, that I was left on her doorstep when I was a tiny baby. Why would she have lied to me?" Suddenly Penelope sneezed and left a smoking hole in the floor, revealing a secret tunnel. Rapunzel crawled through the dark passage until it opened into the forest. Just beyond the forest stood a charming village, and in the distance a gleaming white castle rose against the sky. Rapunzel was amazed. It was all so beautiful and so close by. Why had Gothel told her there was no one living around them for miles? As Rapunzel walked toward the gardens, she saw a young girl start to fall into a pit. Quickly she ran to the girl and pulled her to safety. But then Rapunzel began to slip into the pit too. Suddenly, strong arms caught her. She had been rescued by the girl's brother. Rapunzel longed to stay and talk to him, but she feared Gothel would discover her missing. So she ran back into the tunnel without finding out the young man's name. What she did not know was that the girl was a princess and her brother was a prince, Prince Stefan. Back at the manor, Gothel's spying ferret Otto had already told tales on Rapunzel, and the witch was waiting for her when she returned. "How dare you?" Gothel fumed. "What are you hiding?" Rapunzel asked her. "You can't keep me locked away from the world forever." "Watch me," grinned Gothel. With a magical bolt from her fingertips, she made the door disappear, the stairs vanish, and the wall grow. Gothel then destroyed Rapunzel's easel and paints. The long-haired beauty found herself trapped in a tall tower. Gothel called Hugo to her. "See to it that she stays put, or else," the witch warned him. Meanwhile, Stefan rode far and wide, searching for the beautiful girl who had rescued his sister. He wanted to thank her by inviting her to a masked ball in celebration of his birthday, and he also feared for her safety. For years, his father, King Frederick, had been feuding with King Wilhelm. Stefan didn't know why, but he did know that Wilhelm was preparing to attack the village. The forest was not safe. "I've got to find her," he declared. That night, Rapunzel dreamed that the handsome young man she had met earlier that day had come to rescue her. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," he called to her. Rapunzel's long hair reached to the ground, and Prince Stefan began to climb up. But Rapunzel's dream turned into a nightmare as Gothel appeared. Rapunzel woke with a start and looked out the tower window, where Hugo swept by, eyeing her carefully. She then looked at the hairbrush in her hand and read the poem engraved on the handle. "I will be free," she said determinedly, and slipped back into bed. While she slept, a shooting star transformed her hairbrush into a magic paintbrush. The next morning, Penelope and Hobie brought Rapunzel new paints to cheer her up. It was then that Rapunzel had discovered her hairbrush had changed into a paintbrush. Curious, she dipped the brush into the paint and began painting a mural of the garden where she had met Prince Stefan. When she was finished, Rapunzel and her friends were astonished. The painting looked real. Rapunzel touched the painting, and her hand passed right through. "Maybe you shouldn't do that," Penelope and Hobie cautioned. But in her heart, Rapunzel knew that it was safe. She stepped through the painting, right into the garden, and into Prince Stefan's path. "I've been looking everywhere for you," he exclaimed. He handed her a scroll with an invitation to the masked ball. Before he could say another word, Penelope popped through the painting and appeared before Rapunzel and Stefan. "Rapunzel, come quickly! Gothel is heading for the tower," she gasped. Still unaware of the man's true identity, Rapunzel promised him she'd attend the ball, and hastily said farewell. When she and Penelope were out of his sight, Rapunzel painted a picture of the tower on a garden gate with her magic paintbrush. Then the two friends slipped through the painting and back into the tower before Gothel arrived. Later that day, Rapunzel began to paint dresses for the ball with her magic paintbrush. Penelope and Hobie helped her design the perfect one. "I feel like a princess," Rapunzel cried. But she was unaware that Otto had snatched the invitation and had taken it to Gothel. Gothel was furious when she learned that Rapunzel had escaped again. She stormed into the tower, waving the invitation in the air. "Who gave this to you? Who did you meet?" she demanded. "Honestly, I don't know his name," Rapunzel replied. "You're lying!" Gothel shouted. Magical bolts flew from her fingertips, cutting off Rapunzel's hair, destroying the painting of the garden, and shattering the magic paintbrush. Then the witch climbed out the window onto Hugo's back and cast a spell to trap Rapunzel in the tower forever. "Tower, tower, do your part, never free your prisoner with a lying heart. Note that soon as these words are spoken, this fearsome spell can never be broken." An eerie green glint surrounded the tower. Rapunzel was trapped for good without her magic paintbrush. That evening, Gothel went to the masked ball, using Rapunzel's hair to disguise herself. She lured Prince Stefan into the garden, then tore off her mask. "So, you're the one who's been meddling in my plans," she spat. The prince gasped in horror. "Who are you?" "I'm the one who's going to teach you to stay away from Rapunzel." Gothel cackled, throwing magical firebolts at his feet. Prince Stefan dodged the witch's fire, but she chased after him. Just then, King Wilhelm and his army surrounded King Frederick's castle, surprising all the guests at the ball. Back at the tower, Penelope had an idea. She and Hobie flew up to the window. "Rapunzel, the spell only traps a prisoner with a lying heart, right? Maybe it won't work on you because your heart is true. You didn't lie to Gothel." "You could be right," Rapunzel said, as she stepped through the window right onto the young dragon's back. Hugo saw that his daughter's friend had a true heart. "Penelope," he said, "take Rapunzel to the ball. I realize now that Gothel is the one who must be stopped." Penelope took to the air with Rapunzel and Hobie on her back, and they soared across the sky together. When Rapunzel and her friends arrived at the castle, Rapunzel slipped into the ballroom unnoticed. There, surrounded by guests and soldiers, King Wilhelm and King Frederick were arguing about their long-standing feud. "You kidnapped my daughter," King Wilhelm accused King Frederick. "You will pay for—" "No, I kidnapped her," Gothel interrupted, making her way through the crowd. She explained she had always loved King Wilhelm, but he married another, so in anger she had kidnapped his child and blamed King Frederick to start a feud between the kings and have them destroy each other. "I simply took what was mine," said Gothel. Rapunzel gasped. She couldn't believe it. King Wilhelm was her father. Gothel caught sight of Rapunzel amongst the guests and began to chase her. Rapunzel led Gothel towards the garden where she had painted a picture of the tower the day before. When Rapunzel reached the open gate, she turned and pleaded, "Please, Gothel, stop all of this. No more hatred. I'll forgive you." "Never," the witch hissed and stormed after her. But as Gothel reached the gate, Penelope and Hobie slammed it shut in front of her, and she was immediately transformed through Rapunzel's painting back to the tower. Gothel was trapped forever by her own spell. After all, she was the one with a lying heart. Rapunzel was reunited with her family. "Your mother and I have never stopped thinking about you," King Wilhelm said. "Our love is as constant as the stars above," Rapunzel chimed in. King Wilhelm and King Frederick made their peace and vowed never to fight again. Rapunzel thought she couldn't be happier until she married Prince Stefan. They lived happily ever after in their very own castle, where Hobie had all the carrots he could eat, and Penelope and Hugo kept the castle warm all year round. And that's the end of Barbie as Rapunzel. This was such a lovely book. Oh my goodness. I love the designs, the illustrations, the gorgeous painting style, and it's gorgeous in all of these books, but I think the Rapunzel ones are just even more so because Rapunzel is probably the most beautiful Barbie movie, and that even translates into the book. It was so lovely to read this story. I really love Rapunzel so much. I would say it is probably my second favourite Barbie movie after Swan Lake, and a very close second at that. But yes, the story of Rapunzel means so much to me, and I love the way Barbie tells it in the movie and in this book. I think it's so lovely and beautiful. But yeah, I suppose that is all for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I know I really enjoyed this one. But yes, thank you again, and I will see you in our next video. Peace!